What's going on, guys? Welcome to Road to GT3. We're starting to make some real progress with the car, which is fantastic. Today we need to finish off the pedals and all the plumbing that's associated with that, some of the reservoirs that sit inside the engine bay. We'll be spending a bit of time in the fuel tank, getting that in, getting everything bolted together. And then once that's done, we can start looking at putting the loom in the car, which is currently a big spiderweb mess. So that's going to be fun. But that's what's on the list today. So now Rob has riveted the pedal box back in. The pedals can be bolted back on, which is what I took off 3 years ago when the car was getting taken apart to go to the frame shop originally. One thing that I thought was worth showing to the camera was the back of the pedals and the way the reservoirs work, because obviously this car has adjustable brake bias and it's surprisingly basic. So I thought I'd show you, so have a look. So if you've ever watched the V8 supercars, one of the things the presenter does is the inside line where he kind of goes behind the scenes, shows you how things work. And I wanted to show you how this works because I think it's really, really cool. So you've got your brake pedal here, and that runs off to two separate cylinders. So your clutch obviously just pushes one cylinder in as normal, but the brake has two separate ones. And this line here, which runs into the side, connects to our ABS controller. And that is literally what the driver will use to change front to rear. So from there, it literally sends our force straight back into our two reservoirs where our fluid is. So these two big ones here run through the firewall back to our reservoirs. And these back two here, these small ones, which run through the same hole in the firewall, go back to our ABS controller unit. So obviously when this is pressed, the force is sent through those front and rear. And I think that's really cool because you don't see something like that in a road car, and it's amazing to see it laid out hydraulically in front of you, and how just incredibly simple it is, just running straight off the brake pedal. Very cool to see.
Alright, so we've installed the fuel tank. So with the GT3 cars, it's actually a fuel cell. Now in this car it's out of date, so myself and Nico made a trip up to Sydney because in Victoria there's no one down here to certify the fuel cell being out of date. So we went up there, got it all checked to make sure everything was alright so that we could get a few extra years out of it, so we didn't have to buy a new tank. We got the actual bladder down and seated into what it sits is inside a carbon fibre tub, and it slots inside that, and then on top of that is another carbon fibre piece that sits over the top of it to protect it. So we've got a few of the components in. There's still another large bit down the end that we install, and then the two lines will come up and behind me for our injection of fuel. Alright, so some of the other exciting things we've been working on, Nico's just finished installing the pedal box, so that's all in now. And we've also finally started laying out the spider web of a wiring loom that we've got to get across the entire car. So we've just sort of put sections into bags for now and spread it all out. We'll get them all into the right sections of the car and then start trying to work out where everything's got to get plugged in. S, I believe, sensor. What have you got in your that hand? So we've just run the cabling through the firewall. So I've got the passenger side headlight cable on this arm and the driver side headlight on that arm. So yeah, we're just running everything, laying it all out across the car, running through what needs to go through the firewall. So we're making progress quickly. Alright, as you can see, we've finally got the car up in the air. So we finished off all the air lines, torque checked them and everything like that, run pressure through the system, and the air jack system worked. It all worked perfectly how it's supposed to, and everything's holding pressure, which is really good to see. So we've just put the car up in the air, put some jack stands under it so we can finally get the work underneath that we need to get done.
Oh, it moved! Oh, front end. Wait! That's sick! That's dope!
Alright, so at the moment myself and Nico are cleaning up the gearbox, which has been sitting for a little while, so we're just giving it a bit of a fresh up, blow all the dust and everything off it, just check over anything while it's outside of the car. We've jacked the car up because we're going to slide this underneath and bolt it up to the car. At the same time, James is finishing off the last of the heat wrap at the front around the exhaust and everything like that, because he couldn't access that until the car was up in the air.
So, heat shielding is finally done. We are down to our last sheet, so we definitely covered every area of the car that needed to be protected from heat, keep our driver nice and cool. It was a mission and a half, let's just put it that way, but we're all completed, which means the engine bay is finally ready for the engine to go in. You can probably see it sneaking in behind us. We're getting everything ready, which you'll see very soon, but yeah, everything's all complete, ready for the next stage, so keep watching.
Alright, so I've just finished installing the heat shield on the back of the engine, giving the whole engine a bit of a blow over with the air compressor, just cleaning out all the dust, even though it was under a sheet, just to get all the dust from all the time off it. Just going over and checking everything, make sure the lines that are on the back of the engine are done, so that when we do put it into the engine bay, we can just attach everything and then put it into place. We've also attached the engine mounts, the front two engine mounts and the engine mount onto the bell housing. So now we're just going to put on the flywheel, put on the bell housing, and then we are ready to put it in.
officially say engine is in.
Engine is in.
Engine is in. Just got to get all the final bolts and bits and pieces all tightened up, all torque specs. Yep. Yeah.
Then we can move the crane away.
Yeah, we can get this thing out of here finally. So, success.
Yeah, boy.
The engine is in. The engine is in. Holy crap. It's 1 a.m. in the morning. It's been a long ass day, but the engine is in. The loom is in. The gearbox is in. The fuel tank is in. It's a big jigsaw puzzle to put back together now, which is going to take a lot of time, but the engine is in. It's freaking awesome.
Yeah, we're super excited. They're two major components that we've been super anxious to get in. And they're finally in, so we can now take next steps into piecing the rest of this Meccano set together. Yeah, look, we're super stoked. It's been a massive day. It's nearly 2 o'clock in the morning, so I think it's time for us to shut up shop. But look, thank you guys for watching. Really appreciate all the support. Please feel free to subscribe and hit the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload new content. Keep up to date, guys, because we've got some huge content coming out. So stay tuned. All of our socials are in the section below. We look forward to seeing you in the next one, and thanks again for watching.
Thanks, guys.